We are conditioned to look for malevolence in the historical archive or the cinematic villain. We scan for the obvious marks of a tyrant. In reality, most psychological threats operate as subclinical predators. They maintain families, manage corporate offices, and move through social circles undetected. Identifying these individuals requires looking past the polite facade. We have to understand the invisible, calculated architecture of their behavior. For decades, psychologists used a framework called the dark triad to categorize toxic personalities. Narcissism forms the first component, a relentless pursuit of ego gratification, driven by entitlement and grandiosity. Machiavellianism describes a calculated amoral approach to relationships, where other people are viewed strictly as tools for personal gain. Psychopathy is marked by bold impulsive behavior, and an absolute absence of empathy. Sadism adds a specific layer of malice, where individuals derive actual gratification and excitement from witnessing or inflicting physical or emotional pain. High statistical overlap across these populations suggests these aren't distinct conditions. Researchers began looking for the single unifying force driving all of them. Psychoanalyst Eric Fromm initially bridged these traits through the concept of malignant narcissism, identifying how severe self-absorption blends with paranoia and a sadistic streak. Researchers codified this into the D factor, a measure of malevolent tendencies, representing the drive to maximize personal utility at others' expense. The dark tetrad traits are manifestations of this engine. Attention-seeking manifests as narcissism, thrill-seeking as psychopathy. Regardless of the label, the result is the same: a ruthless commitment to interpersonal exploitation. High D-factor individuals typically initiate control using soft tactics. They deploy extreme flattery, superficial charm, and intense love bombing to disarm targets and secure trust. Once the target is invested, the strategy pivots to hard tactics. They employ gaslighting to distort the victim's reality, and when confronted, they use Darvo, denying their behavior, attacking the accuser, and reversing the roles of victim and defender. Oscillating between these contradictory treatments creates severe cognitive dissonance, leaving the target confused, off-balance, and highly susceptible to suggestion. These tactics serve a specific goal. By dismantling a victim's independence and distorting their perception of the truth, the high D individual achieves total architectural hijacking of their reality. When outsiders observe these abusive dynamics, they often ask why the victim stays. This is frequently mislabeled as a personal failing or a symptom of codependency. Clinical research reveals a biological trap. The erratic behavior of the abuser triggers a literal hijacking of the victim's brain chemistry. Surviving this manipulation requires recognizing that this isn't a behavioral habit. You are fighting against a neurobiological response. Intermittent reinforcement is an unpredictable cycle where severe emotional abuse is punctuated by sudden bursts of affection. The abusive lows trigger cortisol, the stress hormone. Subsequent reconciliations release dopamine, the reward chemical. This neurochemical whiplash creates a trauma bond, trapping victims in an addiction cycle. Understanding this biological reality is the first step toward neutralizing the predator's power. It provides a clinical explanation for why walking away feels physically impossible. True liberation requires acknowledging the chemical nature of the bond, and accepting that individuals high in these traits rarely possess the empathy or internal motivation required to change. Recovery starts with the decision to